Jrue Holiday over the past decade has been one of, if not the best two-way guard in the NBA. But in his first 8 seasons, Jrue sort of flew under the radar. While he was always looked at as a good player, most people still weren't grasping how much of an impact Holiday had on the game. But all that changed after his first round performance in the 2018 playoffs, where Holiday completely dominated the Portland Trail Blazers on both ends of the court. Now coming into this series, Portland had a prime Damian Lillard and McCollum, who at the time was one of the most skilled and dynamic backcourt duos in the league. Both of them were comfortable creating from all 3 levels, had the skills to score off the ball, plus the both of them were pretty advanced passers. And we all know Dame had that ridiculous logo range.
Industrial problems are the best team in the land.
Coming into this series, many people thought Portland had too much firepower in the backcourt, and in order for the Pelicans to have any chance, they had to slow down this Portland duo. And that's exactly what Holiday did throughout this series. Now what made and makes Jrue so special as an on-ball defender is that physically he checks all the boxes. He's got the foot speed to step out and contain the ball, plus the strength to absorb contact and not give up any attacking angles. Plus Jrue was also a really disciplined defender, simply keeping his chest in front of the ball and extending his hands out to avoid fouling. So Jrue's ability to step out and pressure, slide his feet, and stay disciplined to avoid fouls gave Portland's duo non-stop headaches. We'll see Holiday on this play picking up Dame with both feet beyond the 3. And from this spot, Dame pretty much always has the foot speed to get this blow by. But Jrue's gonna both slide his feet to stay in front, then reach across to poke the ball free. We can see the same thing here with McCollum, where Holiday steps up and picks him up beyond the 3, and CJ is going to try to attack his top foot by going between and skipping into this drive. But watch how quickly Holiday slides and gets his chest back in front, forcing CJ out into a difficult leaning floater. And even if the offense was able to initially create a clear driving line, Jrue was also great at reading angles and funneling the offense out into less efficient shots. We'll see McCollum here initially beat Holiday off the catch with his jab step, but notice how Jrue is still able to scramble and head off his driving line, which pushes CJ out into this tough fadeaway. And then on top of that mobility, Holiday also had ridiculous strength and stability. If CJ or Dame tried to initiate contact into Holiday's chest, they were pretty much driving into a brick wall. So out in isolation, both CJ and Dame had a hard time dealing with Holiday. So the obvious adjustment Portland made was to put the both of them in pick and roll. But there was 3 main problems with this action. First was Jrue Holiday's screen navigation. In open space, Holiday is elite at scrambling around or completely blasting through any live ball screen, which stalls Portland's offense and gives them no advantage to attack. The second issue is Anthony Davis. If Portland's guards were able to effectively turn the corner off these screens, they then had to deal with the best drop defender in the NBA, which led to more difficult pull-ups and inefficient shots. And the final issue for Portland was lacking a real roll or pop threat. In these pick and roll actions, the Pelicans were commonly sending 2 towards the ball, and Portland's bigs weren't able to consistently punish them for these aggressive coverages. So generally speaking, if your 2 best players can't create good offense in pick and roll or isolation, it's going to be an uphill battle for your team. And Jrue Holiday was the main source of Portland's offensive struggles, where he could both clamp CJ and Dame in isolation, navigate through screens and not give up any mismatch, or funnel Portland's guards into the Pelicans' size. Now throughout this series, Jrue also did a ton of damage on the offensive end, and this is where his paint scoring was on full display. When looking at all the best rim finishers across the league, I think Holiday commonly gets overlooked. He may not have the explosiveness of Ja Morant or the flash of Kyrie Irving, but Jrue is still an extremely dynamic finisher in the paint. When looking at Holiday's downhill scoring, the first thing that stands out to me is his strength and stability. Jrue may not be the most explosive player, but he's always on balance with the ball. If he gets the defense on his hip, there's pretty much no chance of pushing him off his driving line. And that stability also allows Holiday to mix up his finishes in traffic, where he can both come to a jump stop and explode off 2 feet, or pick up and use those long strides to extend to the rim.
He gets around Turner, takes it all the way in.
Now Jrue typically likes to use these 2-foot finishes when he's attacking from a standstill, because this allows him to more easily adjust his flight path to the basket. We'll see him here turn the corner off the screen, then slow down to put his man in jail. And from this spot, Jrue's going to pick up off 2 feet and drift to his left past this big for the finish. But look at this play, where Holiday is going to blast off his screen, and now he has way more momentum coming downhill. So this time, he's going to pick up and hit this left-right Euro step to extend to the basket. So when playing downhill, Jrue has both the strength to keep his balance and the control to use different angles on his layups. That by itself is already enough to make Holiday a really good slasher. But another underrated element in Holiday's attacking game is going to be his ball handling. Off the bounce, Jrue has both a sticky handle while also being great at using his feet and body to sell moves. Watch him here sell this left-hand drive by planting his outside foot, dropping his shoulders, and bringing the ball up. And from this spot, Jrue has the control to transfer the ball between. And once he slices into the paint, that's where all his strength and body control can take over. And that shifty handle along with Holiday's physicality makes him really tough to guard in open space, because he has both the ability to get his man off balance, plus the strength to drive through contact and elevate up for balance finishes. We'll see him again here sell this drive by extending the ball out and dropping his shoulders, and he's able to move this defender out of his frame. Then Holiday is going to take a dribble and attack right into his body, to then pick up into this 2-foot push shot. Off the dribble, Jrue also has really good deceleration, where he's got the ability to aggressively attack angles, to then slam the brakes and re-attack into open space. This move here is tough, where Jrue attacks hard to his left off the catch, and when he feels this defender's hips open up, Holiday is going to plant his left foot and snatch the ball through, to then take one dribble and use these 2 long strides to extend to the rim. So when throwing everything together from Holiday's strength, footwork, ball control, and pace, he does have a pretty well-rounded skill set, where he can both use his handle to break down the first line of defense, then use all that footwork and control to slice his way into finishes. And then all those tools translate right over to Holiday's mid-range game, where he's got the ball control and skill to work his way to spots and generate these in-between looks. In pick and roll, Holiday has really good pace and navigation, where he's great at reading the defense and finding open spots to attack into. Watch him here come off the screen to his left, to then slow down and veer back into his man's body. And as this defender fights to get back in front of the ball, Holiday is going to use that leverage to bump and separate back into his jumper. Jrue's balance and stability also plays a big factor to his in-between scoring, where he's great at attacking angles and getting the defense to open up, to then slam the brakes and rise up for a vertical jumper. You'll see him here attack this drop big with an in and out, then take one dribble outside of his frame, and Jrue's going to stop his downhill momentum by sliding the ball behind his back, to then create some additional space with his step back. And then of course, Jrue's blend of ball handling and physicality played a big factor in his ability to create separation, being able to shift his man outside of his frame, then bump and initiate contact to create more space. This move here is nasty, where Jrue's going to attack towards the baseline with his cross between, to then again slam the brakes going behind. Then he's going to bring that left foot across and flow into his step back.
Holiday, another highlight.
So because Jrue is a real downhill and mid-range scoring threat, he commonly pulls some aggressive shifts towards the ball, which then open up his playmaking. Whenever Jrue was able to penetrate into the teeth of the defense, the backline had to step up to take away easy shots at the rim, which then opened up some routine passes in the paint. And of course, Anthony Davis being the one receiving these dimes made life pretty easy.
Over the top. AD on the reverse.
We'll see Holiday here working off the screen to his right, and that pull-up threat forces this big to step up, which then creates all this space in the paint for this lob. I love this pass here, where Holiday's now attacking to his left, and again, that downhill scoring forces this big to slide across. So right off the bounce, Jrue is going to shovel this left-hand pass to AD, who catches with a clear scoring window. And along with these tight passing reads in the paint, Holiday also had a pretty good feel of the entire court. you'll see this weak side defender here slide down to take away this pass to Davis. So Jrue in response is going to skip the ball across to the opposite corner.
For Mirotic, a triple. How about that kind of start?
So when Jrue's playing downhill and consistently getting into the deep paint, he's got the depth to create some high quality looks around the basket, plus the skill to separate out into mid-range looks. And if the defense overcommits to him with the ball, Holiday also has the feel to set up looks for his teammates. And then along with that scoring and creating in the paint, Holiday also brought value with his 3-point shooting. And while his shooting numbers then aren't as impressive as his current numbers with Boston, Jrue still had the ability to punish the defense for giving too much space on the perimeter. Plus that shot making also made him an effective floor spacer off the ball. So when looking at the total impact Jrue had on both sides of the ball, I think this was a superstar caliber series for Holiday, where one player completely changed the game on the offensive and defensive end, which led to a pretty easy sweep for the Pelicans. And these games were a perfect demonstration of why Jrue Holiday's been a vital piece for 2 championship teams. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think of Jrue Holiday's game. The Kids here.